Where do you want to see yourself in 1 year as a software engineer? You want to grow, but you are wondering, how? What goal should I set for myself? For me, last year was great, and I felt I grew a lot as a software engineer. I will show you how to set your goals. Show you how I set my 2023 goals, how I achieved them, and what impact they had on me. I will share good resources to learn from. What drives me, that can be a source of motivation for you. I will share what are my 2024 goals and how will I achieve them. As I'm not perfect, I had my fair share of failures along the way. I will talk about how I felt back in the day and what I learned from that. Let's start with how to set your goals. First, ask yourself, where do you want to see yourself in 1 year as a software engineer? Goals should be written down to serve as a reminder. You may remember them now, but you will forget them if you don't. Having no goals is a straight path to failure. Did you feel bad as you failed your goals in the past or couldn't complete them? I certainly did. That's why you should look at them from time to time to remind you. A good time frame is daily or once a week. What I learned from my mistakes, that I should set actionable goals. I used to have very generic, broad goals like learn Linux. And yes, that's a very great and noble goal, but it's not specific, as Linux is such a vast operating system with many quirks and nuances. A better goal would have been to learn the Linux file system structure or how services work in Linux. You will have multiple goals per year, but you only have 365 days to accomplish all of them. You need to think how much time each would take you, and you need to take action. Goals won't complete themselves. That's why the goals should be concrete, and you should know when a goal is complete. Now you are thinking what these goals should be. That really depends on where you are in your software development journey. If you are just starting out with software development, you should learn what interests you the most. Are you interested in web development? Learn HTML and CSS. Are you interested in mobile or game development? There are many resources to learn from. Learn what makes you excited. I'm sure you've experienced that feeling, that unsatisfiable thirst for knowledge. You are so interested in a topic that you can spend your whole day learning. Chase that feeling, that inner motivation gets you far. It certainly worked for me. Along the way you will get many advice, hear different things. But don't be pressured to learn things that don't interest you. It will just feel as a must, you won't enjoy it, and it may even kill your motivation. If you have some experience already and found your field, you should deepen your knowledge in that field. Learn one thing at a time. Don't mix things together. It is hard to separate one concept from another. Like when I was starting to learn front-end development, first I started with React, learned the concepts behind it, then learned state management with Redux, as it has initially a steep learning curve. Start working on your second goal when you finish your first one. So about my last year goals. A year and a half ago I realized that testing front-end code is giving me a harder time than it should. I was struggling. I didn't know how and what to test. The codebase I was working with had the same issue. The front end was not tested properly, there were many tests that tested nothing, and bugs were slipping in. So organically my goals emerged from this problem. First I started learning front-end testing, in particular how can I test React application in detail, how testing should be done. I dove deep into the topic and used the React testing library for that. I've learned how it works, I read the documentation. Reading the docs can sound boring, but that's one thing that separates the average developer from the truly great ones. I read many articles from Ken C. Dodds, the author of the React testing library, to better understand the underlying testing philosophy. If you are working with React, I can advise you to look into front-end testing, as it's highly overlooked and can make your life easier as an engineer. I gained a skill that no one had on my team. I became the front-end testing expert. Then I taught my team members. I put tremendous effort into identifying problems with our codebase, our testing methodologies, and educated fellow team members how to test the application. I created slides for a cross-team presentation where I demonstrated this approach. I got great feedback from my peers and management that this is really something that we are looking for. Then I finished it with a request for change document that made it a company-wide standard. It was also great to have an ending to this process that I could mark my goal as achieved. As I first educated myself, then my team, and made a cross-team impact, later a company-wide with improving our front-end testing. At the end, overall test quality improved and many flaky tests were fixed. In the process I wrote more than 1,000 tests and improved many others. It felt really good. To succeed you need to hold yourself accountable. You need to have a reason why you want to grow. And creating these goals helps you be accountable towards yourself. And not just make it a New Year's resolution, do a quick tour, and just leave it as it happens with the most New Year resolutions or goals. That's what separates the winners from the losers. Consistency, showing up and doing it even though the initial motivation faded away. I am very proud of myself as I pushed through I was very hesitant about giving a presentation about front-end testing and then creating a document for the entire company to comment on. The success I felt really made me proud, and I think it really made me a better engineer. And it even changed how I write front-end applications, how I structure my code to make it more testable from the start. What drives me? I always thirst knowledge. I just always want to know more. As I learn new things, I always realize there are so many things that I don't know. Here is a little animation I've created. First of all, this is all the possible knowledge. This teeny tiny slice is the things that you know. This bigger slice is the things that you know that you don't know. And the rest is the things that you don't know that you don't know. It's the same for software engineering. It's a vast field. I always find myself learning something interesting that leads me to the next interesting thing to learn. How many things are there that I don't even know about? Resources to learn from. None of the following recommendations are sponsored. These are resources that I have used in the past and work great for me. I have been learning a lot from Udemy. I know it's paid, but a course costs like 10 or 12 euros or dollars based on where you live. You can find great content in every topic that you are interested in. I can highly recommend it as I've learned tremendously from there. Another alternative is YouTube. There is so much educational content out here I've used to develop myself. You can also learn a lot from books. I own a few engineering books that I have bought from my learning stipend over the past years. Most of them contain evergreen knowledge that can help any software engineer at any point in their careers. Tutorials can get you far, but you can learn the most from your own experiences. You can watch tutorial after tutorial, read book after book, and in the end, you feel that you know nothing. You are not sure in your knowledge. Go and build something with the thing that you are learning. That will give you the hands-on experience you are missing. My 2024 goal is observability. I found that as I'm mainly a front-end engineer that I have been working mostly on front-end application in the past few years. At my current job, our team worked only on front-end projects for 1 year before being assigned to back-end development. I didn't have to write complex business logic, nor I had to dive deep into the back-end code base. I have realized I have gaps in my knowledge in regard of how should I log and even what tools are favorable for logging, metrics, and performance monitoring. What are the nuances between these tools? What should be monitored? And how alerts should be set up? I was placed on on-call duty half a year ago. I am growing a lot and learning many aspects of the company code base. I also find observability interesting, so that would enable me to create more robust backends and to have an even better understanding in many things. I am using my personal projects as a playground where I can experiment with these technologies freely. And I am also learning how these things work in my day job. So I want to use this opportunity as a learning project. I want to grow in the stack the company is using and is adopting. The stack is based on Loki for logs, Grafana for graphs, Tempo for telemetry, and Mimir for metrics. It's called the LGTM stack. Whoever at Grafana Labs came up with the name, kudos for them, I like it. I already made progress in this field as I have identified deficiencies in our monitoring. And I am working on improving it and creating useful dashboards and setting up alerts to help us improve the product over time and resolve on-call issues in a timely manner. As I said in the beginning, I have many failed goals in the past. The first goals I have on track are from 2018. As I was still early in my journey experimenting with many programming languages and technologies, I had a list with 18 items. JavaScript, C, Java, Unity, Kotlin, Swift, Assembly, read the Linux command line book, learn shell scripting, learn Node.js in depth, understand ESP8266 microcontrollers better, learn and use Vim, understand Linux in depth. With 6 programming languages and vastly different technologies, I only completed 7 items from that list. Failing the rest felt bad as I felt I did not do enough. I had to realize that I had too many goals. It is not reasonable to learn that many programming languages in a year. What I can advise is pick one and stick with it for a while. Build some projects with it. This way you will not only learn the language, but get hands-on experience with it, and that's what really matters. My second mistake was that my goals were too broad. I wanted to learn Swift, but what is the definition of done here? When can I say that I have achieved that goal? What does understand ESP8266 microcontrollers better mean? Or what is the scope of understanding Linux better? The solution is set goals that you can mark as completed in a timely manner. This will give you clarity and a sense of accomplishment that will push you further. I had goals in 2019, 2020 and 21 too. I have also completed many items from those lists, but failed many. I hope I could help set your goals in a way that you can accomplish them and grow more as a software engineer. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.